Troubled Times, Jefferson County, Virginia, October 16, 1859 through October 16, 1862. October 16th through 18th, 1859, Harpers, Ferry, Virginia, the John Brown Raid. 18 are killed, many are taken hostage and then freed, 7 are arrested. Locals fear it is the beginning of the war against slavery. The world sees how deep the nation's divide really was. From 1859 to 1860, Charlestown, Virginia, the 7 raiders are tried and convicted of treason, murder, and insurrection in perfunctory trials, then hanged. For 6 weeks after the John Brown raid, 15 barn fires and suspicious animal deaths in Jefferson County environs are seen as sabotage. 3 of those struck were on juries that convicted the raiders. Fire George Folks, Thursday, October 27, 1859. We regret to learn that the barn, stabling, etc. belonging to Mr. George Folk near the Swan Pond in Berkeley County was destroyed on Monday morning last by fire, the work of a Negro boy. Mr. Folk's loss is supposed to be $4,000 as wheat, hay, etc. were consumed. No insurance was upon the property. The Virginia Free Press, Thursday, October 30, 1859. Fire William Lucas, Thursday, November 10, 1859. A rick of wheat belonging to the Honorable William Lucas, containing about 450 bushels, was burned on Thursday, November 10th morning last. It was undoubtedly the work of an incendiary. Virginia Free Press, Thursday, November 17, 1859. Fire McCormick's neighbor, Clark County, Friday, November 11th, 1859. On Friday last, the colonel in Clark County lost 4,000 bushels of wheat, barns, stabling, and all done by his Negroes. 2 of them are now in jail together with some of McCormick's, his neighbor. From a letter by Sarah D. Briscoe to my dear sister, Saturday, November 19th, 1859. Fire Josiah Ware, Clark County, Virginia, Saturday night, November 12, 1859. Since the commencement of their trial last night, November 12th, one of mine was burned, destroying not less than $2,000 worth of property, and not one of us can fix even suspicion on any person. Letter to Henry A. Wise from Josiah A. Ware, November 13, 1859. Fire Tate's, Saturday, November 12, 1859. On Saturday, November 12th, evening last, a stable belonging to George H. Tate, Esquire, together with its 2 carriage horses, were burned. This was also supposed to be the work of an incendiary. Virginia Free Press, Thursday, November 17, 1859. Fire Shirley's, Friday, November 18th, 1859, and last night our neighbor Walter Shirley's crop of wheat and barn with all his outbuildings. In a letter by Sarah D. Briscoe to my dear sister, Saturday, November 19th, Walter Shirley was the foreman of the jury for the trial of John Copeland according to Circuit Court Clerk records. Fire at Burns, November 1859. To add to the nervousness of the authorities, there occurred in the neighborhood of Charlestown a number of fires, those of John Burns, who had been on the jury that decided Brown's fate. Villard, page 520, Circuit Clerk Records of John Brown Trials, Jefferson County, West Virginia. Fire Willis's, Thursday, November 24th, 1859. Another fire. The barn of Thomas H. Willis of this county was destroyed by fire Thursday night last. Mr. Willis's loss is about $2,000 apart from the $2,000 in insurance on the barn. The hay was consumed. Virginia Free Press, December 1st, 1859. Fire, Willis's, Thursday, November 24th, 1859. Another fire. The barn of Thomas H. Willis of this county was destroyed by fire Thursday night last. Mr. Willis's loss is about $2,000 apart from the $2,000 in insurance on the barn. The hay was consumed. Virginia Free Press, December 1st, 1859. Fire, Stevenson's, Friday, November 25th, 1859, Clark County. Also on Friday night, November 25th, the granary and carriage house of Dr. Stevenson, near Castleman's Ferry, were destroyed by fire. A large quantity of wheat was in the granary, some 1,300 bushels, but only about 300 bushels of it was destroyed. This is also supposed to be the work of an incendiary. Dr. S.'s loss is about $1,000. Virginia Free Press, Thursday, November 30, 1859. Sabotage, Castleman's, late in November 1859. The stock of Mr. Castleman and Mr. Myers in the same neighborhood had also died very mysteriously. The excitement caused by this was very great. Colonel Davis had the Fauquier cavalry in readiness to go out and inquire into the truth of the report about the fire. The New York Times, Saturday, December 3rd, 1859, page 1. Mr. Joseph Myers was also a juror in the John Brown trial. Fire, Sabotage, William Turner's and George Turner's, December 2nd, 1859. Shortly after the execution and whilst the body was being taken to the depot, great excitement was raised by the arrival of a horseman announcing that Wheatland, the late residence of George W. Turner, who was shot at Harpers Ferry, was on fire, and that the fire was extending to the farm and buildings of William F. Turner. The latter, who was in town, said he had left home around 10 o'clock in the morning. The New York Times, Saturday, December 3rd, 1859, page 1. December 2nd, 1859 through March 16, 1860, in Hunter's Field near Charlestown, the 7 raiders are hanged on 3 occasions. December 2nd, 1859, John Brown hanged. Charlestown, Virginia. I, John Brown, am now quite certain that the crimes of this guilty land will never be purged away, but with blood. December 16, 1859, Shields Green, John A. Copeland, John E. Cook, and Edwin Hoppeck are hanged at Hunter's Field, the same site. March 16, 1860, Aaron D. Stevens and Albert Hazlitt are hanged, also at Hunter's Field. From July to August 1860, 4 months after the hanging of the 2 remaining John Brown raiders, census taker Joseph Coyle took the testimony from property owners and recorded in the slave schedule of 589 escaped enslaved persons, including 2 of his own. Adjacent counties' slave schedules do not indicate any such escapes in the same column in their census pages. Oscar G. Mix, 6 out of 10 escaped. George L. Washington, 5 out of 9 escaped. Henry Briscoe, 6 out of 7 escaped. George W. Spots, 5 out of 5 escaped. John R.A. Redmond, 7 out of 10 escaped. Daniel Cockrell, 12 out of 12 escaped. Gordon Pendleton, 6 out of 7 escaped. Joseph H. Anderson, 5 out of 5 escaped. Robert Butcher, 6 out of 12 escaped. Benjamin B. Welsh, 6 out of 7 escaped. Francis H. Hoof, 9 out of 9 escaped. John Selden, 7 out of 20 escaped. David Humphreys, 7 out of 15 escaped. And Henry Castleman, 8 out of 22 escaped. James H. Conklin, 5 out of 5 escaped. Albert F. Davis, 8 out of 9 escaped. Daniel Coleman, 6 out of 6 escaped. Samuel Craigle, 5 out of 5 escaped. Dennis McShury, 6 out of 6 escaped. William Lucas, 7 out of 15 escaped. Henry C. Cromwell, 7 out of 8 escaped. 39 acres owned by two freed African Americans, Jackson Newman and Thomas Goins, on the eastern side of the Shenandoah River provided the basis for an underground railroad. From John Hurst, 8 out of 9 escaped. John Reed Jr., 5 out of 7 escaped. From Charles F. Engel, 6 out of 7 escaped. November 1860, a bend in the river of time and fate. November 6, 1860, Republican Abraham Lincoln wins a four-way race for the presidency, followed by Stephen A. Douglas, a Northern Democrat, and John C. Breckinridge, a Southern Democrat. Virginia and Jefferson County went for John Bell of the Constitutional Union Party, barely in the former and widely in the latter. Bell's supporters reflected a fear of violence and supported the belief that the Constitution, because it provided for slavery in 3 sections, and the subsequent Dred Scott decision by the Supreme Court based on those provisions, was a protected constitutional right, albeit immoral. John Bell had 959 votes in Jefferson County, and Bell had barely over 100 more votes in Virginia than did John C. Breckinridge. Southern states respond to Lincoln's election and his vow to oppose enslavement in the Western territories by seceding one by one. They see the balance of fundamental power shifting to the northern states for the first time. Lincoln, believing seceding states would eventually destroy the United States, prepares to use the vague but definite military powers given to the president. The seceding southern states expect an easier departure. South Carolina secedes December 20th, 1860. Mississippi secedes January 9th, 1861. Florida secedes January 10th, 1861. Alabama secedes January 11th, 1861. Georgia secedes January 19th, 1861. Louisiana secedes January 26, 1861. Texas secedes February 1st, 1861. Arkansas secedes March 18th, 1861. And Virginia secedes April 17th, 1861. Followed by North Carolina, who had no choice, secedes May 1st, 1861. And Tennessee, that secedes June 8, 1861. The states under the Confederacy controlled the dark green area and surrounding areas they claimed without official sanction.